In this tutorial, we're going to make the Jacob's ladder stitch. It's a really interesting stitch which is made by making loops and then connecting these together. You can do this in one colour, you could just do alternating colours, or you can choose more than one colour as your contrast colours like I have here to make this kind of effect. So go ahead and choose your yarn and grab your corresponding crochet hook. I'm using a 4.5mm. And let's get started. So we're going to start off by using our main colour. For me, this is the cream. And we want to go ahead and create our slip knots and insert our crochet hook. So we're going to begin by making our foundation chain. We're going to do this by chaining in multiples of 5. So that's yarn over, pull through, that's 1, yarn over, pull through, that's 2, yarn over, pull through, that's 3, 4 and 5. So you'll keep working in multiples of 5 until you get to the width of the project that you want. It's just worth bearing in mind that, for example, I'm going to be doing a foundation chain of 20. We want to think about these blocks of 5 being these sections here. So where we have our faux braid, that is the beginning of a block of 5. So if I do 5, 10, 15 and 20, we actually won't count this faux braid here. We'll have 3 faux braids. So however many times you repeat that multiple of 5, you'll have 1 less braid. So I've done 4 multiples of 5, so I'll have 3 faux braids. So you just might want to keep that in mind if you have something in your head of how many of these you wish to have. But go ahead and pause the video, work your foundation chain by working that multiple of 5, and then meet me back once you're ready. So now you've done your foundation chain, as I say, I've done 20. You want to go ahead and add an additional 2 for turning. So that's 1 and 2. So I now have 22 stitches. For row 1, we're going to work in the 4th chain from the hook, so not the one that's on the hook. We have 1, 2, 3 and 4, so this one just here. And we're going to work a treble crochet. Remember, I'm working in UK terms. In the US, this is known as a double crochet. So it's yarn over, go into that 4th chain from the hook, yarn over, pull through, you'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, you'll have 2 loops on the hook, and yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. So that is 1 treble crochet. This missed chain here will count as a stitch, so this will also count as a treble crochet. We're now going to do 1 treble crochet into the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3. This is where our pattern repeat is going to start. You want to go ahead and chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. We're then going to work a slip stitch into the top of that treble that we've just made. So right at the base of this chain 10, we're going to work a slip stitch into the top of that treble, pull through and pull through. You've now made a loop. We're then going to follow that with 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We'll then do our pattern repeat again. So we'll chain 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. We're going to join with a slip stitch into the top of that treble crochet that we've just made and slip stitch and work 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you're going to continue to repeat that pattern repeat all the way across by doing your chain 10 and then 5 treble crochets. You'll end on the 5 treble crochets just as your pattern repeat suggests, and then meet me back once you're ready. So I'm now at the end of row 1 and I have my 3 loops just as mentioned at the beginning. I'm now going to go ahead and turn my work, and for row 2 I'm going to begin with a chain 1, which does not count as a stitch here or throughout the work. So we're going to do a double crochet, which is a US single crochet into that very first stitch, and then work a double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're then going to push this loop away from us and work a double crochet into that same stitch as where we've made our loop. So double crochet into there and then double crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll repeat that all the way across. So pushing the loop backwards, double crochet in the same stitch as the loop, and then the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So go ahead, pause the video, work your way all the way across, and then meet me back once you're ready. So at the end of row 2, this is what your work should be looking like, and then you have your loops on the opposite side. So if you're working in one colour, you can just continue as normal, but actually for my work I'm going to be changing to the first contrast colour, so I'm going to do this in the last stitch. So I'm actually just going to pull out that very last stitch and do a colour change here by inserting into that last stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, go ahead and grab my first contrasting colour, loop that through and then pull through. Then going to go ahead and just pull down on the yarn, and we can actually fasten off colour A or our main colour so that we can use our first contrasting colour. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, turn our work. You can lay your tail ends down as you're working, and we're going to do 1 treble into the next 4 stitches. So our chain 3 counts as a stitch. We'll go into that next stitch working over the tail ends. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we're going to start our pattern repeat again. So just as we did before, we're going to chain 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Join with a slip stitch into the top of that treble that we've just made. And then go ahead and work 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, I'm going to drop those tail ends now so that I can weave them in back the other way. 3, 4 and 5. And then we have the pattern repeat again, chain 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Slip stitch into the top of that treble that we've just made, and then work 5 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you'll repeat that all the way across, your chain 10 and 5 trebles, and then meet me back once you're ready. So I'm at the end of my row 3. I'm going to go ahead and turn the work and work row 4, so it's chain 1. This is essentially a 2-row repeat, but obviously you have to bear in mind on your colour changes. So I'm going to do a double crochet into that very first stitch and into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm going to push that loop backwards, so the opposite direction to where I'm working, and then do a double crochet in there and into the next 4 stitches. So just as we did for row 2, we're going to repeat this again in this contrast colour, pushing that loop out the way and working a double crochet into each stitch. So go ahead, pause the video, work your way all the way across. If you're changing colour, we're going to be changing back to the main colour on the last stitch. So go ahead, pause the video and then meet me back once you're ready. Okay, so I've just worked my way across. I have just snipped off these tail ends. I would ordinarily sew them in a little bit more, but just for this sample's sake, I've just snipped it off there, but I wouldn't recommend just leaving it like that. So I'm in my last stitch and I'm going to go back to my main colour. So loop it over and then pull that through, pull down on the yarn, and I can go ahead and fasten off my first contrast colour. And then we're just going to do that pattern repeat. So it's chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work. So we're repeating row 3. We're going to miss this first stitch because this counts as a treble crochet, and treble into the next 4 stitches, 2, 3 and 4. So now you'll just continue with that pattern repeat that we did on row 3. Rewind the video if you need to. But you are just going to continue repeating those 2 rows, changing your contrast colour as you wish until you reach your desired height. You want to go ahead and work to your last contrast colour, so this row here, because we are going to do something slightly different for these last 2 rows, these final 2 rows. So go ahead, work your piece up until that height that you require, and then meet me back once you're ready. So I've now gone ahead and added a few more rows. I've just done 2 colours so you could see what this looks like, as well as having additional colours. I've finished on my contrast colour, so now that I can do the main colour for the final 2 rows. But you can see that we have these loops all here. I've gone ahead and changed colour in my last stitch. You can go ahead and fasten off the last contrasting colour. And for the final row 1, we're going to go ahead and chain 3, which counts as a treble as before. And what we're going to do here is work 1 treble crochet in each stitch all the way across. So we're not doing any pattern repeats, we're not doing our loops, we're just doing 1 treble crochet in each stitch all the way across the work. So go ahead, pause the video, work your trebles, and then meet me back once you're ready. So now we're ready for final row 2. However, just before we do that, we need to do something with these loops. We need to make them into our faux cables. So there are 2 ways of doing this. You can do it with your fingers or you can do it with a crochet hook. So if I just grab another crochet hook here and place it through the bottom loop, and then I can just grab the next loop and pull it through, and then insert into the next loop, grab that and pull it through, and then insert into the next loop and grab and pull it through, and that creates your chain. However, I prefer just to use my fingers. I find it a little bit easier just to either bring my fingers through the loop and pull through, or to open the loop and then just guide the next one through. So open the loop, guide the next one through, and it has exactly the same effect. So choose which way is easier for you. Choose the path of least resistance, and braid up your loops. You will notice that we have some open loops here, which we're actually going to deal with in this final row. So if you still need to braid up your loops, then go ahead and do that, and then join me back for the final row 2. Okay, for final row 2, we're going to go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to be working double crochets across this row. So we're going to work a double crochet into that first stitch and the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to do a pattern repeat. So the next double crochet is going to go into the next stitch, but we're also going to insert our hook into that open loop. Now make sure that you're not twisting this loop. You want to go through and then do a double crochet, and that catches that last open loop. And then we're going to double crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then start the pattern repeat again. So double crochet into the next stitch and into the next open loop, and double crochet, and then 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You want to go ahead, repeat that all the way across. I only have one last set to do, so I'll just continue. So going into that next stitch, into the open loop and double crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we just have that final stitch left to work a double crochet into. You can go ahead and fasten off, snip off your yarn. I've already done mine. And then we have finished our final row. So you can see that that has just secured that final loop down. So this is what it looks like with using 2 colours. So just having the main colour and 1 contrast colour. And then this is what it looks like with 4 colours. So having the main colour and 3 contrast colours. And if you like this textured stitch, then I think you also might like this stitch too.